Welcome to Rebellion Night 2, and I am wearing the same long sleeve shirt, but a different undershirt. Just in case you're thinking, don't you change your clothes? Yes, I do. I was wearing a red shirt, now it's white. Anyway, okay guys, Night 2. I gotta say this, and understand, yes, I'm disenfranchised to a certain extent from WWE. I still love the wrestlers in WWE. I still love Naomi. I still love the Usos. I still love New Day if they just cool them down and not make them win all the time. I still care about Aleister Black. There are people there I still care about, but because of how they do their SmackDown, how they do their Raw, and I've never been much into NXT, but I knew that once most of those people went to the main roster, what was the point of caring about them? So I didn't care about NXT. With all that, I still care about the wrestlers. But when I look at WrestleMania 36 compared to Rebellion, I gotta tell you this. I'm not a huge die-hard fan of Impact Wrestling. I love Impact, but I care about a lot of different promotions. But I'm gonna say this. This was well done. This, with Night 1, easily outstrips WrestleMania 36. And I'm not saying that because I hate WWE completely. I don't. But if you see the production value, if you see how they did things here, and yes, there's going to be people that are going to say this is just a basic Impact. No, I'm sorry, it's not. Because at least, even though they had no people there, no fans, they at least tried to tell stories. They at least didn't make the people who watched the shows feel like complete blittering idiots. They didn't. Let's open with a fatal four-way. But the thing that gets me is that it was not for the number one contendership. Nothing was stated by Josh, nothing was stated by Madison, which I think they should have. Yes, I understand that you're going to have Ace Austin get his shot back eventually. But you can say, you got to do something different. Why not have Ace Austin go up against this person who could be considered number one contender, and then next week or the week after you can have them fight one another for the number one contendership because we needed it. But that is, you have Raju, Chris Bay, you had Suicide, and you had, who's the last person there? Trey. Which they always throw Trey in there. Let me give it to you like this. I didn't hate the match. Chris Bay and Raju were the best ones there. And I don't hate, I believe it's Caleb Connolly who is playing Suicide. I believe that's the one who's playing it because the last time I looked, I think it's him. Trey has been played out so badly because he's jobbed so much to Ace Austin. So this was really a match about Raju, and this was about Chris Bay. And you can say a lot about Raju, but the guy has good ability in the ring. I just wish the story that he tells outside the ring as a character with the Dempsey Hit Squad was a lot better. In the end, this was not about Suicide. This was not about Trey. This is about Chris Bay winning. And I'm glad he won. It's a nice change up compared to the same people over and over again. Admittedly, I wish they would do something with Raju, and hopefully they are doing something with him. But seeing Chris Bay there does help a bit. Now here's the problem. Chris Bay is not considered champion. He's not considered number one contender, which he should be. Because this is supposed to be a special Impact. He should be considered a number one contender or has to challenge the number one contender and then Ace Austin to give us more content. Because let's be honest, the pandemic is not ending quickly. It's not. This is still going to drag on. They need more content. They need to continue doing stories. They need to be able to do something with people. So Chris Bay getting a shot against the number one contender to get a shot against the X Division champion and a Willie Mack would make sense to me personally. You guys tell me below. Now, let's talk about Willie. Willie Mack with Rick Swann has a short interview. He's happy that he won. He's with his best friend. And then you still have Johnny Swinger coming out again saying, you promised me a shot at that, boy. and you are now in the exclusive club in the X Division, but give me my shot and we will all be in there because I'm going to win. That's what pretty much, why are we still having Johnny Swinger in this? If you're going to put someone there, why don't you just put Glenn Gilberti there? Why don't you have Glenn Gilberti go up against Johnny Swinger to challenge Willie Mack, and both these idiots have to try and outthink each other in the 1980s mentality and 1990s mentality, saying, I'm better than you. I've been around 10 years longer. Oh, just because you've been around since the 80s doesn't mean a damn thing. I've been around in the 90s, which has been better. Don't you understand? ECW was better. Oh, who gives a damn about ECW? And then you challenge one another. Then you go up against Willie, and that would be it, where he'll squash them. But that would be well before the Ace Austin, or even better, Ace Austin versus Chris Bay, and there you go. There's a good booking. Now, we still have the best thing in wrestling. Now, AEW is doing the same thing. They're not hiding the fact that there's a huge crisis going on, and they've been playing into it in some form or fashion in their promos in some way, in their video packages, a little bit or something, or in the matches. When you see this situation where you had Josh Matthews and the Madison Rain talk about that Jordan Grace is not there. Tessa Blanchard is not there. I kind of wish that Jordan Grace would have a video package or at least an interview. Maybe next week we'll see Jordan Grace's interview, because she should be seen, because if she's not seen, it's stupid. But we had Tessa Blanchard seen, which is the World Heavyweight Champion, which is understandable for Rebellion. And she's not happy that she's stuck at home, because let's be honest, Daga is her fiancé. If everyone says that she's so racist, why is she with a Spanish man? Look, I'm not playing into it. I'm not saying that she isn't an ass or she is an ass, but if she's in Mexico with Daga, that kind of goes against what people said, including Allison Kay. I'm just saying. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm just being honest here. The evidence shows right now, if she's engaged to a Mexican, she's not racist. But anyway, she says she's not happy, but she will try to gain something from this. She will improve herself, and when she comes back, she's going to be doing it. You could see her in my face when she did that on screen. Unfortunately, I didn't catch that spot. It felt good to see that Impact Wrestling is not insulting our intelligence. For the people that are not there, they address it. That was the best thing they could do. Unlike WWE that acts like business as usual, like nothing has gone on. At least Impact is addressing it in some type of video package, or at least they're saying it directly on Skype. Now, we had Joseph P. Ryan versus Jake Diener. And the reason it's Jake Diener, because they showed a video package of Cody Diener dealing with Joseph, showing they're having a rivalry. But due to the fact that Canada's locked down, they address it saying that, look, Cody can't come because of the lockdown. In Canada, he can't come. So Jake is taking his place. If you don't like it, you don't want to hear anything about the pandemic, then don't watch Impact. But at least if you don't really care about them mentioning it, you're going to feel more cared about. Because, let's be honest, Impact is caring more about the fans than WWE is. Period. And blame Vince for that. Not Triple H, not Stephanie, not Shane McMahon or Shawn Michaels. It's Vince. He's the one who caused the trouble. And I did see that segment with Vince, with Triple H, and with... What was that from Vince? He was on some strong drugs. Either that, he's become very senile, but he probably was on some strong drugs. He can't do what he wants, so he's going, or maybe, and I don't smoke, You may not believe it, but I've never smoked, and I've only drank 20 times in my life, not counting when I drank vodka and orange juice as a little 4-year-old child by accident. Yes, back in the 70s, families would just leave the liquor out, and they wouldn't think their kids would be stupid enough to drink it, and I did drink it. Maybe that's the reason why I'm a nut. But anyway, let's get back to this match. Was it a good match? It was average. And in the end, you had Joseph P. Ryan winning. But you know what we were missing? We were missing something from RVD. We were missing something from Katie Ford. I mean, why couldn't they have something with Katie as well as from RVD? A little video package, something again with them together. If they're not both sick. Hopefully they are. Perfectly fine. But I think it would have been good. Like if they were doing some type of Skype call on the phone. If he did a segment in the back talking to them. I really think that would have helped. But that's just me. You guys tell me below. Now that leads me into a Skype call of Rosemary and the Taya Valkyrie, whose hair has grown quite long. You see in my face. I think I got a couple of shots of that. Seeing a beautiful Taya Valkyrie with some long ass hair on one side. You know how she is. She shaves one side and keep the other hair long. I would love to see her as her actual hair color as a brunette. I wonder how good looking she is. I'm curious. But Taya was supposed to have a match with Havoc and a Full Metal Mayhem match, but she can't be there. So she convinced Rosemary to do it. Rosemary is not fond of doing this. I've already dealt with it, she said. I've dealt with Havoc. I don't need to do it again. She says, look, if you do this, we can go to Las Vegas. I will get you all the most naughtiest boys that you want. And she pretty much says, well, this bar I've been going to, essentially, it's panned out. There ain't nothing here. There's no talent. That's what she said. Now we had the Havoc and Rosemary match. And in the beginning, Rosemary did not want to fight Havoc. She's trying to convince her. She's trying to convince her, hey, let's not do this. We don't need to do this. You can walk away. We dealt with each other. There's no purpose of this. But Havoc wanted to fight. And I'll say this about the match. It was actually good. Because Rosemary looked better in the ring than normal. Now, I'm not saying she looked great. But she looked a bit better than she did. I think maybe she got in better shape, that her leg may be better because I know her knee has been messed up, and maybe she lost a little bit more weight because I'm not saying she's fat, guys. I'm being honest here. A wrestler who has a messed up knee needs to, one, rework their style of wrestling. Two, if they're overweight, no matter if they're a man or a woman, needs to lose some weight to help keep the stress off their knee, because it's hard doing these moves in the ring, and she didn't do either. She looked terrible for months upon months. She went back to work, still not fully recovered, didn't change her style, and she was overweight. And I loved Rosemary. I still love her. I love her, but she looked like shit. Here she looked a bit better. But then, while this match went on, Avila, I believe her name was Avila, or Avila. I think it's Avila. And the thing is, Madison Rayne knew who she was, and Josh Matthews did not. And here's the thing. This was a nice surprise, better than, and I've heard what happened with Jinder Mahal coming back. And you guys know what I've said about Jinder Mahal. I said years ago when he was on SmackDown, I was happy he went and won the title because, not that he was a great wrestler. I knew he was a damn jobber. I knew he was not great. But WWE rarely give any jobber or undercarders a shot. And I thought this could be the beginning for undercard or jobbers to get a shot at the main title. Because they always push the same person. I've said that. You can look at my videos. But I never said Jinder Mahal was great. But here, in this situation, where we don't know who this woman is, and it's Madison Rayne, who, generally speaking, yes, she's a 5-time knockout champion. She's not one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Yeah, she's good looking. Yeah, she got a great knockers. You can see the picture of her with her husband in my face. She got a nice pair of knockers, no matter if they're fake or real. And from what I understand, she's actually really nice. She's a nice person. She got nice knockers. But a person in a Madison Rayne, yes, she's a mid-carder. She's always been a mid-carder. But they took a chance with her and put her with the beautiful people. They put her with Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. And her character got over more than her wrestling. You're now using a veteran who is a mid-carder to put over someone or to introduce somebody who is new. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I don't recognize this woman. Maybe I've seen her before. She might even be from NWA. I don't know. I'm having this thought of Camille, but I don't think it's Camille. But you never know who it could be. I don't know. But when it comes down to it, this new person being introduced by Madison Rayne and we're being told that not only Madison knows her, but Havoc knows her, is a question. What's going on? Why didn't she approach Havoc? Why didn't she come close? I know there's social distancing, I know, but still, she could have came closer to the railing and just stood there watching Havoc, and Havoc could have stared at her. That would have made this better than just a Madison Rayne who is a 5-time champion, who's more of a mid-carder than a main eventer, has to put her over. I'm just saying. Okay. The vid pack for Michael Elgin was talking about who he is, that he has now been there a year, that he's destroyed everybody that he's gotten into the ring with. He destroyed Willie Mack. He destroyed Eddie Edwards. He destroyed Brian Cage. He's gone up against everybody important except for Sami Callihan. Never really faced Sami Callihan. He has faced Moose. He didn't face Killer Kross, but Killer Kross was either still injured or he finally left by the time he came in. So he went through all the most major players they had at Impact. And now, after being interviewed, he goes into the ring, dressed to wrestle. And he says, the ones that are not here, they're scared of me. Tessa's in Mexico. She's an American citizen. She could have came back. But you know what? She's scared of me. Eddie, I didn't expect anything better. He's what he is. I tried to get the best out of him. He's nothing. He didn't say it like that, but this is what he represented. And he said, I am the legitimate guy here. The best this company's ever had. I've been here a year. This is my anniversary. It means something to me for Rebellion. That this is my first year anniversary in this company. And to be honest, guys, tell me if you feel the same way, that it felt longer than a year with him. He felt like he's been there longer because, honestly, he really gels well with Impact. He actually feels like he's always been with Impact. He has that type of attitude, which I find that quite pleasing. But he made it very clear. I don't care. I am the champion. I am champion. He called for a ref. He called for the ring announcer. And he said, raise my hand and call me champion. But before that happens, Moose comes out. He's in my face. And he's carrying the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm going, what the fuck? What is this? Are they going to do what I think they're going to do? Are they going to bring in the TNA title to supplement for Tessa not being there, allow Michael to win it, and then do something between two titles and maybe unify them? That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that would be something interesting. And you got Moose, who has been attacking and beating down every TNA original that he could find. Then you got Hernandez, a guy that he hasn't challenged on any Impact Zone, generally speaking. And he says, hey, you say you're going up against everybody? No. He didn't say it like that, but pretty much he's saying, you think you can wield that title? You got to fight for it. And I'm going to fight you. And he goes into the ring, and now we have an improp triple threat, another one. Now, supposedly, because this gets very confusing, There's no one that comes out from the back to say, hey, this is a legitimate match. Nope. This is not about saying anybody who wins this match, they can claim the TNA title, even though it's an inactive title. If you guys want it, you guys want to try and claim it, go ahead. Or that this is illegitimate. None of it. And that's where a big mistake, I believe, had been made. You can't just have Josh and Madison try to put this over without someone from the back. Someone had to say something. Even if it was done in a Titantron they needed someone to come out and say, hey, you guys want this match? You got this match. And somebody wants that title? It's not an active title, but if anybody wants to try and win it, go ahead. Do it. Go for it. Have fun. But it don't mean nothing. And then they have the match. I truly believe that's where they really made a big mistake. But to be honest, even with this mistake, and I'm telling you the truth, guys, look, we know Moose won the title, which I'm actually surprised they would go there with Moose. I'm actually happy that, one, Moose has a title, and now with a possibility of dealing with Tessa, where they could do a unification match. Think about this, guys. Think carefully. In this situation right now, and the match was not bad. Hernandez was a little sloppy, but the match was pretty good because you got Michael dealing with it and Moose dealing with it. Yes, Hernandez is not a huge, big mess in the ring, but there were a few sloppy moments, but it was still a decent match. But the story is the key here. If you look at WWE, what general stories do you have? You don't really have that much story. You don't. But you look at this match. You got a guy who went to an old show, like a nostalgic show of Impact that happened a couple of weeks ago. He beat whoever he was dealing with. And did he beat? I can't remember. But he might have beaten the guy that was there that he went up against, because I didn't see it. I was sick. And pretty much what happened next was that same guy who was on that nostalgic show brings out the title that is no longer active. When they switch names, they also switch titles. He comes out, they have a match, and he wins that match with an ECW, well, did he ever go to ECW? I think he did, as well as Impact Wrestling. And he beat Michael Elgin, who was one of the #1 contenders, and Hernandez, who's an ECW original, and he wins the title. Not wins, but he keeps the title. And he announced himself the TNA World Heavyweight title holder. This is the best case scenario for Impact Wrestling, and makes it better than WWE's WrestleMania 36. And I know people are going to say, are you stupid? The Undertaker AJ Styles match was amazing. The Bray Wyatt and John Cena match, which was more of like a psychedelic type of situation more than a real match, was incredible. I'm sorry, guys, that's not enough. The majority of the show sucked. And it wasn't just because there was nobody there. The storytelling for WWE is so bad. Look, WWE for nearly 2 years, I'm just going back only 2 years, and that's to compare it to Impact. For the last 2 years, the writing for WWE has sucked balls. The writing for Impact Wrestling, yes, they have not booked Tessa right. I know people say Tessa was booked and I like it. I'm telling you right now, as someone who's reviewed this, the way they booked her, as much as I have no problem with a woman being a world champion, a man's whole title holder, she wasn't booked properly. She should have either been booked like Daniel Bryan, a man, or like Chyna, a woman, and they use her sexuality, her gender, to get her over, which was a stupid idea. But Tessa did her best with what she was written with. And I take nothing away from her ring work. She busted her ass working with men and women, doing double duty. She earned what she got. But the booking was bad. But even with bad booking, Impact Wrestling has done more than WWE has. Flat out. Let's be honest here. Impact Wrestling has done better than SmackDown, better than Raw, and even though I know people say NXT is far superior to any of what was stated just now, NXT until they went live as an actual, flat out brand of their own, because they were not. They were developmental. And only in the last, 5 to 6 months, they became a legitimate brand of WWE, not a developmental. You can easily say that was the only part of WWE that was good, at least until the pandemic happened, and now it sucks. But Impact has been generally consistent. Yes, they have ups, they have downs, but they have given us decent, good, and sometimes great content. And WWE has only 1/3 of its content that was good. That doesn't make it better than Impact. This, I would rather see Michael Elgin try to do a unification match. That's what I think should have happened. Michael Elgin should have won that title, say that it's a legitimate title, and he challenged Tessa to try and take it from him so they can unify the damn things. That would give us weeks of content. Weeks. You could have Michael have that title, spend the next 5 weeks if necessary. You could have tapings up to 8 to 10 weeks with him, with that title, until everything clears up enough that Tessa can come back from Mexico, and then you can deal with it. No. You got Moose who wins it, which, mind you, I'm happy Moose finally gets a title that he deserves. The Impact Grand Championship was considered a joke by the old regime. Now he has this title, which in a sense is not a valid title, but at least it is a major title that once had prestige. This was a good show, way better. Night 1 and 2 was way better than WrestleMania, hands down. Easily. And yes, the production wasn't great on Impact compared to WWE, and I know people are going to bring that up. But you can still say the storytelling is better. Just me. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.